Hi and welcome back to the cottage. Today I want to share how you can have a clutter-free and functional kitchen by asking yourself 5 simple questions. I often wonder if those of you who watch my videos question if my life has always looked this way, tidy and organized and minimal. And if you were to dig back into the archives of this channel way back to the very beginning, 4 to 5 years ago, you will realize that that is definitely not the case. Those videos way back then documented our family's process of decluttering and trying to become more minimal and intentional with what we keep in our lives. And we were just trying to figure out how best to utilize our spaces and to find the right balance of what to keep within them. And the kitchen in particular was one of those spaces that it just was hard to get a handle on. And I've heard that from a lot of you, that you struggle with finding a good balance in your kitchen. It just seems to always be in chaos. It's such a working space in our homes. And looking back now at our decluttering journey, and hindsight being 2020 as it is, I recognize now that we were able to make this change and to be able to have a clutter-free and functional kitchen now because we asked ourselves some simple questions. And so I want to share those with you today in hopes that it can help you as well. As you follow along while I talk, I encourage you to really think about these questions for yourself. If you want to take some notes, jot some things down, or even pause the video and stand within your kitchen space and think about these questions for a moment. Question number 1, who uses your kitchen? I'm willing to bet that there's going to be some changes made based on how you answer this question. When we were first starting out our journey of decluttering and trying to live a more simple and minimal life, our kids were just starting to enter that stage of wanting to help out in the kitchen, wanting to make food for themselves, or at the very least grab themselves a snack here and there. And we started to realize that a lot of the way our kitchen was set up was not very functional for them at all. We had stacks of very heavy dishes in the upper cabinets where it would be very difficult for our kids to reach them or access them without hurting themselves or breaking something. We also recognized that we didn't have any of the tools that they would need to make themselves some of these simple meals or snacks that were readily available for them. So as an answer to that question, we moved everything that needed to be accessed by everybody that used the kitchen down below countertop level. And this just made it so much more user-friendly for everyone involved. In fact, when we were designing our new kitchen space, we came to the realization that we didn't even have a need for any upper cabinets, which I know can be a little bit strange for some people, but it definitely works for our family. This question can open up a whole bunch of additional thoughts and ideas of the things that you keep in your kitchen or where you keep them in your kitchen. And it's really kind of an open-ended question. Who uses your kitchen? And tailor it for that person or those people. Question number 2 is what is kept in the kitchen? Now this one might seem like a loaded question because anyone who is practicing a minimalist lifestyle or wants to live more intentionally and simply recognizes and realizes that the idea of keeping the inventory down to a manageable level is of utmost importance. And I would argue that any clutter problems that you're having in your kitchen probably has to do with having too much to manage. When we pondered this question, it became really clear to us that we had way too much stuff. As you can see from this little video clip here of my son and I laying everything out on the floor to sort of sort through things and organize through things, there's a massive mishmash of items that were kind of just shoved back in the back dark spaces in our cabinets. And maybe doing a technique like this would be helpful for you to really just take a bit of an inventory of what all is in those cabinets, to actually clear everything out and put them in a pile in the middle of the floor. I remember doing this video and working on this video, and it was kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you, to bring everything out into the light and to see it all laid there. But it was also really important for me to really visualize how much I was shoving behind these closed doors and to realize that they couldn't really hold as much as I was putting in them. We got rid of a lot of the excess when we moved to the new house, and we really started to recognize and be honest with ourselves about what we were using on a regular basis and what was just there as filler because we had the space. Another thing we realized by asking this question was that we needed to be more mindful about how much food inventory we kept within our kitchen. I know it's a popular opinion right now to keep stockpiles of food, but we had a really tough time managing our inventory at our old house, and we would constantly be keeping things past the expiration dates, and we would have food in our fridge going bad. And so that's not being a good steward of our money or our time or our space. Now we use a meal rotation system that has greatly simplified our grocery buying process and also managing the inventory that we have in our kitchen. It allows us to keep just the basics on hand plus what we need for about a 2-week period of time. I did an entire video about how this system worked, and I will link it down below for those of you who are looking for encouragement in this regard. Question number 3, when is the kitchen clean? This one can also have us take a pause, take a moment, and really think about, because I know that when my kitchen was more messy and disorganized, I found myself really not cleaning it deeply and thoroughly as I would have wanted to, because I just didn't feel like I had the time, or I didn't want to take the time to do it. I remember there would be times when I would clean our oven and it would just be completely caked up with burnt things and splatters here and there, and it would take just a long time to clean out. Or our fridge, there would be, like I said, food that had gone bad that would have just made stains and things, and I'd clean all that out, and then I would just let it go for a while longer. So asking myself this question was sort of a reality check for me, I guess you could say, and realizing that I wasn't keeping my kitchen as clean as I wanted it to be. The major change that I made after asking myself this particular question was to come up with a nightly reset of my kitchen where I do some basic cleaning tasks every single day. I make sure the dishes are washed, I make sure the floor is swept and the counters are cleaned up of any crumbs. And I do this so that I can stay on top of things, because I feel like a lot of times those cleaning chores, if they feel insurmountable, we're gonna keep pushing them off to the side. And that's definitely what I was doing. So staying on top of those basic things every day means that I'm able to tackle the more difficult things like cleaning the oven, cleaning the fridge, wiping down the insides of the cabinets or the drawers. Those aren't so difficult for me to do anymore because the rest of the kitchen is otherwise pretty tidy and organized and functional. So you might find that you are doing a great job of cleaning your kitchen and this one doesn't relate to you, but for me, it was a big sticking point. Question number 4 is, where are things kept within your kitchen? I am a huge fan of efficiency. I like things to be laid out in a reasonable way, in a way that makes sense for me. And so when you're thinking about this question, where are things kept? Be thinking about the functionality of the space. Do you have your spices way in the back of some drawer that if you need to use a spice, you need to dig through a whole bunch of things just to get to it? Or is it easily accessible? Is it ready for you to use right there where you need it? And that has been a game changer for me. By asking this question, we did a lot of changes. Here's a video clip here where we used to have a drawer that was filled with stuff. I actually called it my everything drawer. And the theory was that I was saving myself time by just putting all of these miscellaneous kitchen items in one drawer without having to sort them or put them in different spaces. But what actually was happening was I was having a difficult time even finding the thing that I needed when I needed it. And so this was a wake-up call to me that that system wasn't working anymore. So I was able to transfer those items, go through them first of all, find out what I didn't need anymore, and then keep the things that I did use on a regular basis very handy and very available. So now I have this little decorative crock that I keep right by my stove, and I have just the basics right there within arm's reach. Another thing that we did to help the functionality of our kitchen was to lay it out in such a way that we had food items on one side of the kitchen and tools on the other side. I know in our rental farmhouse we had food kind of in all sorts of spots wherever it could fit within the kitchen, and then same thing with any tools that we needed. They were all just kind of scattered about. If you were to come into that kitchen and try to find your way around or make a meal, you'd have had a really difficult time because it was not logical at all. So again, I encourage you, while you ask yourself this question of where are things located in your kitchen, to think about what you're using regularly. Are things handy? Are they readily available for you to grab, or are you finding yourself digging for these things? And that's going to help you to make some choices, make some changes to get things more functional and clutter-free. And the final question is, why do you want a clutter-free and functional kitchen? The biggest changes that we make in life often come when we fully understand our why. And so what is your reason? Are you finding yourself not wanting to spend any time in your kitchen, even though you love baking, you love cooking, but you don't want to go in that space because everything is disorganized or you can't find the things that you need? Maybe you have somebody who has food allergies and you need to keep their items separate from the rest of the families because of contamination or allergic reaction. Maybe you just want to be creative in the kitchen. You want to try new things. You want to open up some space in your kitchen for some new gadgets, for some new food items that you can experiment with. Whatever your why is, find it, embrace it, and really think about it when you are working through the other 4 questions that I talked about today, because it will really help to shape and guide you in this process to having a more clutter-free and functional kitchen space. I hope that this video clearly shows that it is possible to go from messy to minimal in your kitchen space with a little bit of hard work and understanding and being thoughtful about the process. I went through many different renditions of organizing and decluttering before I got to the level I am now at, where I can confidently say that my kitchen is clutter-free and functional, and I know that you can get there too. So I hope that these questions will help guide you along your way. Let me know down in the comment section which one resonates most with you, which one do you think will guide you in the best way. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope that you'll stop by the cottage again really soon.